my dental. Thank God for my mental. Investor fundamentals. Told my girl it was simple. Hey, what's good, y'all? It's C. Will, and this is the Passive Income Network. On this podcast, we talk about creating assets that produce passive income. Make sure y'all hit that like button, subscribe, and leave a comment and say what's good. On this episode, we have a special podcast feature with Martin Kelly of Meadow Labs. So Meadow Labs is an Australian-based tech startup with global ambitions backed by Meadow Ventures. If you in the Algorand family, you know who Meadow Ventures is. They're focused on creating the world's most meaningful digital collecting experiences by activating ubiquitous brands within the NFT arena and forging a space for fans and all kinds to revel in their shared obsessions. So these are the folks behind Australia Zoo Wildlife Warrior Project. So very excited to have Martin on the show. Let's bring him in.
Hey,
yo.
How you going?
I'm good. How's it going, Martin?
Good. Really, thanks for having me here.
Most definitely. So let's start off. Who is Martin Kelly, and where are you located in this world?
Yeah. So, who is Martin Kelly? That's an interesting question. But yeah. So I'm the CEO of Meadow Labs here. I'm really fortunate to be part of a great team in Meadow Labs, and the intro you gave was perfect and spot on. Located in Brisbane, Australia, along with another part of Meld as well. So obviously Michael's here, and you mentioned Meld before, but yeah, real strong base hold here actually for Algorand. Surprisingly, really surprised me when I started digging into it, how many people are working in Algorand here.
Yeah, it's actually crazy. I'm like, it's like almost half the projects are in Australia based.
Yeah, it's a good stronghold.
Yeah, it's impressive. Like I keep telling everyone, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have to fly out there and I can meet up with 50 people, I guess.
Do it. Let's go.
Yeah, most definitely. Okay, so can we talk more about Meadow Labs? And I said what it is, but can you break down, what Meadow Labs is and what they're bringing to the table?
Yeah, totally. So at a really kind of the highest level, it's really breaking down to three components for us.
Okay.
One, all based on NFTs, so we're an NFT business, but exclusively on Algorand. The kind of first part is that meaningful experiences you mentioned in the tee up. That's really important to us. Like everything we do is really considered and all about how we're going to drive meaningful experiences. Secondly is accessibility. That's really important to us because it's clear to me that it's just not quite there yet in terms of accessibility and how we do that. So that's part of what we drive all the way from UX, but more so, even to how the future looks for accessibility. And lastly, that place along that community is hugely important to us. And, I'm overwhelmed every time we do a drop or, the Algorand community themselves are, a fascinating crowd and super smart. I mean, some of the stuff that we see in our communities and see on Twitter, et cetera, is awesome. So at a high level, that's what we're trying to do. We have two sides to our business. We've got the tech infrastructure. So what you see in like Australia Zoo and that experience you go through with the unboxing and the account area you can go into and look at your NFTs, etc. That's all our tech we built from the ground up.
Nice.
And then secondly is more of our commercial side of the business. So that side is working with brands like Australia Zoo. There is a big gap between where Web3 is today and where a lot of these mainstream brands are. And how do you help them bridge that gap so they can come in and make the most and be a part of the community in the appropriate way? So that's part of what we do. Ultimately, really kind of the base of it is just driving at the moment, like bringing things like Australia Zoo in. It is really all about growing that ecosystem. That's a huge part of what we're trying to do here is bring these brands in, driving new wallet adoption, making a great experience and etc. for the community, which is super important.
Nice. Excellent. Okay, so Meadow Labs, Australia Zoo, like how does that collaboration, happen? And, why did y'all choose or they choose you guys in terms of working with each other?
Yeah, it happens with a lot of work. Is that what happens?
Yeah.
But yeah, like all projects, right? They're a lot. There's a lot to them behind the scenes. How it came around is we were looking for partners that we think could really elevate what we do, demonstrate what we do. Also, we're really important that we want real meaningful, purposeful projects that we put into the ecosystem. It was a bit of an obvious choice. Also, there's certain people in our business who've got some direct and personal affiliations with the brand, history with the brand, and it just became this obvious choice as we were talking about it. When we approached them, this was a while ago now, over a year ago. We approached them, and it's not straightforward when you're working with a brand to try and get them into that space. As you can imagine, we've all heard it. There's a lot of negativity, but there's also a lot of positivity. So you just got to navigate that with these brands. And someone as public as the Irwin family, there's a lot you need to consider. So yeah, but it was fascinating. It was great, and we're in a great place now. And it's just we still feel so privileged to be able to offer what we're doing here with Australia Zoo.
Yes, you guys are doing great work for sure. And I can imagine like a high profile family like that, the Irwin family. Before we dive deeper into the Australia Zoo, what is that like working with them? Steve Irwin got an amazing legacy, and now we have Robert Irwin, stepping in, young guy stepping in, and he's filling big shoes, we'll say. Yeah, what is that like to work with them? You work with them directly, or is it more of like Australian Zoo in the middle?
Yeah, it's a bit of both. To be honest, obviously that they're off doing so much. I mean, they're recently just done a big Uber Eats campaign here and all that sort of stuff to support. Yeah. And what's fascinating with that family is how much they are involved, though. So they're involved in some minutiae decisions, and they're very fascinated and hugely interested in this space and learning. And I recently met Robert probably about 2 months ago now. We did a news piece together here in Australia. That guy is fascinating. He's what you see. That's the thing I love about that family. One, their passion's real. They're genuine. What you see is what you get. Like Robert is Robert. If you see him on TV, that's how he is out off the camera. It's not different. They really are, a genuine family around what they're doing. So yeah, but they're heavily involved in what we do. They make single decisions. They also put a lot of ideas and they also check a lot of the attributes and artwork and all of that stuff. And they're heavily involved. But also there's a team that we work with, like the CMO. Darren's brilliant. So it's actually a big operation. There's also a lot to consider when you go through that and around things you should and shouldn't do with certain animals and how to put things forward, and also going through things that they've experienced before in the past with press, etc. So yeah, it's a very collaborative process. We're constantly, actually straight after this, I'm on to Australia Zoo for a meeting with Darren now. So
Well, it's kind of funny. Well, something popped in my head, like growing up, watching Steve Irwin, but there was a show called The Wild Thornberrys, right? Have you heard of that one? It's like a family, and I'm not sure if it was based on them or not, but they do this. They're all around Australia with animals and things like that. It just reminds me of the Irwin family. So shout out to them.
Yeah, let's see it. Awesome. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, amazing work. So I do know. Okay, let's talk more about Australia, the zoo project now. It's the Wild Warrior, the Crocs. Can you break that down for the audience? Well, of course, we know why with the Crocs. So let's talk about why the crocodiles and some of the key features of this Wildlife Warrior project.
Yeah, perfect. So, first of all, with the actual whole concept of this NFT program is that it's tangible. It goes back. If you look at our roadmap, the first thing that we've actually delivered is croc tagging up in the far north of Queensland, so the very top of Australia. Real croc country. So that last Australia Zoo drop we did together has actually paid for 5 crocs to be tagged up there. And actually Robert's up there at the moment as we speak. So he's out there,
he's tagging
his tags and tagging right now. So first of all, like every single cent of the primary sale goes back into conservation, and that roadmap is tangible. We're working down that as a team, and the community is every time they buy an NFT, it's going towards that. So that was really important to us, that it's actually a project that's giving back and putting back into conservation.
We're talking about 100%, right?
100% of the proceeds go back. Yeah. So that's great. First of all, it's really important to us, and then secondly, we need to make sure that we can provide that value add as part of a holder base. And we're starting to do that. Robert's actually been in Discord. He's done AMA after the drop. That was wild. It was like, it was really kind of received really well. And again, just the community are awesome. And then last night we had our team on talking about rarities, and we've had lots of different things. But recently, because of that croc tagging. The community have actually got their own croc now up in Finance Queensland called Taco. So the community named a croc they tagged, so it's being tagged at the moment.
Yeah.
And they don't know this yet. There's a bit of a kind of release, but there will be a link where you can actually track that croc's movements. So the community will be able to follow the croc as it goes around Finance Queensland as part of its tagging. So there's things like that which we're bringing in, obviously more rewards, etc. So as a whole, it's not just about raising money; it's also how do we balance that kind of value add piece. But really, the premise of what we do is everything comes back to how do we drive conservation with this project, and that's what's key to us. So the collection is of 5 actually in the first run we're doing, which is Crocs is number 1, and second is coming out soon. I'll give you some details, details in a second. But there is 5. Just forget into that. There's 5. So what you have to do is own at least one of the first 4 to get into the 5th drop. That's how that works. So that's part of the collection. So as you build towards that 5th one, we need to make sure that everyone's got one and they can get in there. So it's a real collector's vibe with packs and everything else. But in terms of the bit of exclusive is that our next drop is coming up. The community have been hounding us for what it is and when it is and etc.
Yeah.
So
spill the beans.
So to let you know, it's koalas. First of all is what the actual NFT is going to be, which is awesome. It's going to be on the 23rd of August at 9:30 EST time here.
EST,
so
Australian time, okay.
Yeah, it's Australian Standard Time. And there's going to be only 1,900 of them, and they're going to be at 60 Australian dollars each. So they're getting slightly rarer as they go into the collection. The last one was 2,000. Yeah. So that's awesome.
less each drop is a little bit less.
Maybe we'll see. Maybe? This one is. Okay. Yeah, we'll see. We're keeping things fluid and keeping surprises, but this one's less. But again, all of this is going back to the koala conservation they're doing in Australia Zoo. The animal hospital there is amazing. You go there, it blows you away. The work they do. And it's all live. It's all behind like glass. You can see them actually, operating, etc. Oh, wow. But so this is our second trench of the roadmap, which is around helping koalas. There's a lot of koalas. Plus, they've just become an endangered species again.
Yeah, that's what I heard. They're going through it. I know y'all had some like natural disasters down there that really affected them.
Completely. And that's what's amazing about it, because you can see that tangibility of like people that are buying that collection. It's directly going to what you can see in Animal Hospital there, and actually, really kind of making a huge impact, which is really what motivates. I think it gets us really excited about that tangibility of what we're doing here.
Yeah, like it's amazing because again, that right there is charity. NFTs real world use case is unbelievable, and like I love the animals and all of that stuff as well. So this is something I think every time, because you can actually like track them, that you basically help name and help them live. Amazing. I want to pivot back to the conservation a little bit more. Can you talk more about the conservation efforts so people that's watching this video can have an understanding of what that really means?
Yeah, so in terms of, we spend a lot of time with Australia Zoo looking at the roadmap, because essentially the roadmap on this NFT project is the roadmap that's philanthropic in terms of driving that kind of benefit we're talking about. So, first of all, we did the crocs, which is great because that research is really important. Then we got the koalas. So the second part of the roadmap is that, there'd be treatment for 14 sick or injured koalas coming through, which is also fascinating how much it costs the zoo for this treatment. It's crazy. Imagine taking your dog or whatever down to the vet, right? But it's just a whole nother level, And then next it's really about turtles. So that list goes on, and the thing for me is, as this project continues, and we always say at Meadow Labs, we're here for a long time, not a hype time.
Not a hype time. I like that.
That will continue as well, right? So this is our first goal. We're trying to get to this goal of delivering this roadmap, and but that conservation effort doesn't end, right? We continue to talk to the zoo. Also, we've been very clear, and it's in the roadmap, is that let's say a natural disaster does happen, we will do the right thing and divert those funds to support what is appropriate at the time as well. But again, it all comes down to the same principle. Like, how do we drive conservation in a meaningful way while providing value and finding the community? But all driven behind that purpose. So yeah.
Amazing. So this is definitely a project that needs to blow up. There's requirement, because the whirlwind is crazy with all the elements, floods, fires, a whole list of things. So again, kudos to what y'all doing at the Australia Zoo and Meadow Labs and whatnot. Let's slowly start to close out. A couple things. First, to start with some advice. Can you give advice for, let's say, someone marketing their NFT project, some pointers that you would want to give them if they're, in this NFT game?
Yeah, marketing is really interesting for us because we're dealing with mainstream brands. So I think it really depends as well on your project and who you're. The one thing I always bring it back to personally is who are you actually talking to. So for us, we're talking to a lot of new people. So we brought in a huge amount of new wallets as part of this Australia Zoo drop. So we're actually talking to people that we need to onboard. I know you do a lot of great work in this space, as we talked about earlier.
Thank you.
But for me, where are we going? Where are we trying? So we're going to mainstream press. We're on national television, etc. So, but that probably isn't quite so right for some other projects. So my advice is really understand who you're trying to talk to. If it's the Algorand community, you know where to find them. Like Twitter, AMAs. Like go out there. For us, it's both, right? We really want to provide value for Algorand community and the Algorand. We love them. We're all part of that. But also, our job here is to bring in new new people into the Algorand system.
Activate new wallets.
Yeah, and that's what our sole purpose is around. Bringing in major brands like Australia Zoos. That we do that as well as obviously what we just spoke about for the last 10 minutes around conservation. But that is really key that we can support that. And that's why accessibility is one of our biggest pillars. Is that you can't do that without having accessibility, great UX, etc., easy onboarding. Yeah, that's all got to improve a huge amount, as we know, but it's definitely coming along, and Algorand's a great platform for that.
Nice, excellent. That's great advice, like for sure. Thank you. I know that's going to bring value. All right, so where can they find Australia Zoo project? And potentially Meadow Labs for those who will want to work with y'all. Those two informations. Yeah,
so the best place to the Australia Zoo project is just go straight to australiazoonfts.com. You'll find the project there. There's also all the links there. Get into the Discord. The community is awesome, as Algorand's community is awesome, but also the new people that have joined. There's some new people that are there that are learning the whole NFT and crypto space, and so there's a real kind of great mixed community in there as well that is growing. And then for Meadow Labs, we've got meadowlabs.io, the website, all of the links, etc., to our emails and etc. And you'll find us all floating around Twitter in part as well, so you can grab us all there. But definitely just reach out. We're always open to talking, and love to support.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Martin. Great value brought here. I'm excited for this drop, so it's going to be good. Thank you once again, and you always are welcome to come back so that we can keep these updates going, and maybe bring Robert with you as well one of these days.
yeah, man. Yeah, we'll give you a call next time we're together doing something.
For sure. All right, man. I'm gonna slide you out and do my outro. Just stay around for a moment.
Awesome. Thanks, man.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, hey, y'all. So Meadow Labs, Martin Kelly breaking down the Wildlife Warrior NFT. So you heard it exclusively on here. We got new animals dropping, so make sure that y'all go get one of these NFTs, and it's a real world use case, conservation. This is positive. You already know the Irwin family. If you haven't Googled them, you know all about them. So this is huge. Again, I appreciate Martin for tapping in. The rest of y'all watching on YouTube, it'll be out on the audio version of Spotify, and then make sure you share it with your friends and the family. We're going to continue to educate on the Passive Income Network. Again, see Will, I am gone. Algorand. See the crypto, a digital face, 2021 fiat replace. Had to have it, bank account by Algorand, large amounts. Digital left the physical space, the community had to be great. A digital wallet, large amounts. It's about fame, big bank account.